How can be mathematics relate to sports?
When I think about mathematics, I don't think about numbers.
Okay.
So my approach to this field, I'm not a mathematician.
Yeah.
I am a psychologist. And when I think about numbers, I think about magnitudes. So something is small or something is big. And mathematics is, for me, a form of deviations from the small and big, and how do you manipulate all this in the complex processes in your brain. But when you break it down to more real life relevant decisions, like in sports, you don't deviate some logistic regression of something in your head and then you perform a movement that is perfectly calculated. You just perceive things getting smaller or bigger, moving in space with certain speeds. And this is what is relevant when we think about mathematics and sports, for example, I think. Currently, I'm a co-author of an unpublished paper. We are writing it here also. And all these different philosophical approaches to decision-making in sports. And we also say that this is a very dynamic setting. So you don't make a decision and you execute it, and that's done. But you make a decision, you execute it, but the execution gives you back a feedback, basically, so that you can plan your other action. And there are also certain situations where you perform a movement or you run towards the goal, like in handball, to hit the goal, and you didn't decide yet, but you're already running, but you have not calculated your pathway or whatever. And this is what makes sports such a beautiful environment to investigate decision making, but also unbelievably complex when it comes to empirical research, so how to test it.
Yeah, I think this way of seeing mathematics in sports with magnitude also may work a lot for small children that I cannot give numbers yet. I see this in Theodore. So he's in the phase where he wants to go into holes. So when I open my legs, or when there is something like that can be like a tunnel, he tries first, but he is also trying to guess how big he is and whether it fits or not in this hole. He does this by doing. So like not judging, make complex things in a way of saying, well, let's consider the environment. The light is shining. Maybe the shadow may say that it's 20 centimeters. No, he just do it. And I like this explanation from your side. Yeah, I really like it. I really like it. Yes, thanks a lot for this explanation and saying about your scientific career. And besides our dear guest, in the second season, we have, today somehow Elia Veda is not there. And for you that can see us at YouTube, it seems funny, but today we just have Batman. Robin is maybe sleeping in some bed in Brazil. Anyway, we go further. You are more than welcome. More than welcome, everybody, and let's go. Alexej, again, today we will talk about your first scientific publication, where you are the first, one of your scientific publications where you are the first author. And the paper is entitled, "A Developmental Embodied Choice Perspective Explains the Development of Numerical Choices." Can you tell us a little bit more about the story behind this paper and also the motivation to write this paper?
This will be very unromantic.
Go ahead.
So I basically received an email from my boss, who is Markus Raab, a professor and my first supervisor at the German Sport University. And there was a call in a special issue to theorize about decision making. And back at the time, we were at heavy Corona conditions with everything shutting down. And in my project that I'm basically paid for to execute, I have no decision making inside, right? So I'm doing a PhD in a topic that has nothing to do with decision making. But my one of my biggest interests in science is decision making. And I could not miss this opportunity. So I said, yeah, I want to write something in. And this is how a cooperation between Markus and me came along. And then Lisa Musculus, who is also
has also been here in the first season. I think he is in the third episode. It's a great episode to watch.
Great episode to hear. And she also wanted to contribute, and we just sat down and said, yeah, let's do this. And we tried to pursue basically a way on how we can integrate all our disciplines into one paper.
Nice.
And because I need also to complete my doctoral degree at one point, I decided that I will.
I remember when the beginning was. I was there.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, okay, I'm gonna take the lead and propose something. And Lisa and me and Markus, we all share one commonality, and this is embodiment, the embodiment perspective, so that the body helps to understand thinking or contribute to thinking. Also, Lisa and Markus are specialists in decision making. And yeah, we all came from different perspectives too. Markus is an expert in every decision-making field. I bring expertise from two fields, basically, in decision-making, because my human decision science master is actually from economical point of view. So this is rational behavior. What is rational, and why do we deviate from rational behavior? But this is in conflict with my psychologist inside me, who says that we are not rational, we are ecological, basically. And Lisa has heavy interest in development. So we decided to throw the things together: decision-making, embodied perspective, and development. And because I do numerical cognition, we decided to use this as a test bed, as a showcase. And this is how it came along. It was a beautiful writing process. It went on for some months. Back to me, back to Lisa, back to Markus, and just circles. And this was just really nice experience. It was my first cooperation within this department that has deviated basically from the project that I'm doing. And yeah, this was a really, really great experience. And I'm very thankful that Markus sent this email.
Yes. So look, we can plan what the offers we can get, but what we do with them is always up to us. So you took the decision, you made the decision, and I read the paper again yesterday. And I also sent to you via WhatsApp a message. I really liked some explanation that you have used, because you stay in the understanding level that everyone can understand. But if you go a little bit deeper, you also use analogies and also trying to re-understand the results from former papers that add to the readers. And what I like the most, that you have said many, many times, that body, especially the fingers, give you cues. The fine motoric give you cues to understand how numerical cognition develops. And if we go a little bit further, do you think that we can teach these things? Is something that we can, for example, for someone who has an injury using a gips or something like this, can you teach people how to develop the use of fine motoric, especially related to numerical cognition?
Oh, this is such a complex question, Walter, because
well, you cannot expect something else from me.
This involves many levels, because your fingers basically, so imagine you're a child and you just born into this beautiful world and you're just experiencing something, you're growing a little bit older. So your name is Theodore, and then you decide that you caught particular interest in this beautiful yellow duck over there. And you're like, I really want this duck, and I have no way of communication yet. So all I do is I point my finger to this duck, give me this duck, Walter. And I believe this is the first thing where your finger is associated with this yellow duck, you know. And I
like
believe
one object, one finger point.
One object, yeah, one-to-one object corresponding.
Written there, yeah.
Yeah. And I believe that this is the starting point of everything that has to do in math, in arithmetic, contributing to this arithmetical skills later on in life. So this is, for me, this is a starting point. Maybe some people will disagree, I don't know. And then further, when you get older and you get interested in more than one duck, and then you will try to count how many teddy bears you have, right? Or try to when your mom asks how many Snickers eyes do you want to have, you show 2. And this is how this gesturing of number sets of objects and finger counting will contribute to your understanding of sets and numbers. So this is what I think happens, and this comes from the theory of integration of body and cognition, so mind and body. And we have the thinking that your head controls your body. Because I don't know what happened during the past thousands of years, but something definitely happens that we attribute so much weight to our brain. So brain is something holy, and brain controls everything. It's very mystical. We still don't understand all these processes. And I don't believe that. Of course, the brain is important. Without the brain, we maybe might not exist. But I also believe that the example of numerical cognition that I provide, that your fingers, they help, or they are the sole reason why your brain is capable of understanding magnitudes, numbers, and this set associations of one finger, one object. So this bidirectionality that we call it between mind and body, this is key to understand basically anything. So I believe that it is grounded in our body. Understanding of things is from our body. So our body is the sole reason why actually our brain works. This is how I see.
Nice. And I remember one part of the paper, which funnily I have used in some games in the school when I was teaching math as well, that there is a scientific evidence saying that the fingers counting helps to understand mathematical equations. And this is so simple. I don't know why we need scientific evidence to say this, but it is so clear as water that this should be taught in the school. But I have now, due to the fact that I'm also visiting the school again, I don't see that. I see people trying to speak about numbers, write numbers, but not using the body as the main cue source to understand mathematical world. And just to add something else, do you think that if someone get an injury again, I don't know, got hurt by any finger, that some impairment or injury may impact in the development of numerical cognition?
I think also we write about in the paper, there are some critical periods of acquirement of knowledge.
Yeah.
And these critical periods are time periods in your development. And I am not a developmental psychologist, so I cannot say I know. I just know that this exists. right? And some periods in your life are just more important in regard of learning than other periods. So for example, if you're 60 years old, this is less important than if you are 3 years old. Because some things, they shape you for life and they happen early on. And this is what shapes you, shapes your personality, shapes your learning processes, contributes to your understanding of the world. There's like a beautiful example of this cat's experiments, which is a bit cruel, of course, but there were kittens and they were inside cages. And some of these cages had vertical bars and the other cages had horizontal bars. And when you let these kittens out into the wild, one of these kittens who experienced like the vertical bars, they could not apprehend the existence of horizontal lines and the other way around. And yeah, this is what makes our cognition. So our experiences, our early experiences make what we are today. And these questions of impairment of Gibbs as the hands, this is my answer. It depends on the period where you have it. And embodiment actually also operates like a theory of mind, so empathy. So let's say it's empathy. And this is another level of body. So your own physical experiences, I would say, are the strongest. But when you see someone else counting on the fingers, I also say this contributes. Yeah. This is a form of empathy. It is called simulation in science, but for easy understanding, empathy of someone else's behavior, basically.
Right now, so there is a way in which you can also, due to sympathy, also enhance the visual information of someone which for a moment has an impairment. Yeah, yes, I like this, because I think the teacher or the parents or some guardians may have neglected this whole as a parents before use more saying than showing with the fingers as well. Yes, I really like this.
This is
go ahead. Please.
This is something horrible, Walter, that happened. Like I said again, something happened in our society where it became very mainstream and cool to be rational, to be logical, and to not move but just sit there and write your numbers. And this is how we measure performance in mathematics. And if you use your finger, you are punished for it. For example, some countries still punish this behavior of using fingers during lessons, mathematical lessons. I have experienced this myself.
Really?
And this is a bad experience. Of course, you don't know. Your teachers, if you're a teacher, you don't know. You believe that it is exceptional when you can manipulate these equations, these numbers inside your head and not rely on writing or on fingers or on whatever. They think that this is the performance. I think that fingers shape performance. Of course, maybe it can be too much at one point. If you're too old and still using your fingers, this might be problematic. But we are not talking about these exceptional cases. We are talking about the mean, the standard.
Right, nice. My dear, thanks a lot for the explanation. I have the feeling I just have learned a lot in some minutes. Thanks a lot. Alexej, our audience understands the difference between a post in social media and a scientific paper or a scientific work. But to make this difference even more clear, I really want to know about you. How was the revision process to publish your scientific paper? How was you can tell us about the process of submission and the revision process. How was it? Because I remember once I visited you and you were answering some reviews. So how was it?
The submission process, I think this is a traumatic experience for me.
Really?
Because I have, you are that naive young guy and you want to submit your paper and then you sit in your office and you think, come on, how hard can it be? I have this document ready. All I need to do is click some buttons and upload it.
That's it.
and I'm done within 10 minutes. Okay, let's say I have 1 hour to buffer. So if something happens, I still have 50 minutes left. I have spent 5 or 6 hours submitting this paper because I'm not quite sure what happens there, why this process is so hard, but every time I need to submit something, I plan 1 day.
Oh.
I do plan 1 day because in my experience, these things have been horrible and I need this buffering time. So I always count in the unexpected currently. So this is a submission process, but this is all related to technical things or to unexpected things like write another page of this and that to explain your motivation to submit this and that. The review process, this is more important in this discussion because it does not really rely on technical things. Also, I had also technical process, technical issues during review process. It's been an overall nice experience with this paper because most of the feedback was really helpful and has contributed to shape this paper by a lot. For example, everything that I write about math anxiety was suggested by one of the reviews. And this got me the idea to write all of that in a very dense, small little paragraph, but also a very relevant topic. Math anxiety is a real thing, and we have to account for that. So this is one of the best example, I think, how it improved this paper.
And how long did it take from the submission until the publication? Like, because for our audience, when we make a post in social media, it's like a click, like minutes. But to have a statement based on empirical evidence, how was it? I mean, not considering the time before writing, just the review process. Do you remember how long it take?
It was not long. It was maybe 2 months or 3 months. It was not that long. So it was very humane. We went to 2 rounds. So we got a major revision, we got everything, and then the second revision was like minor things, little things. And then it took another 2 weeks or so for the editing process, just to make sure that everything is formatted in the right way. So yeah, I guess it was 3 months altogether from submission to publishing. Roughly that.
That's quite good. We have heard in the other episodes in the second season about 2 years, 18 months, 1 year. And I always want to highlight this because I really wish that the people who profit from what we produce in science can understand that this is not comparable to a book or an ebook or to a post in social media or something like this. What we do take time, and time also takes energy. So yeah. But 3 months is also long. You can consider,
of course.
You can consider because you are waiting for some news and then you have to change quite quickly.
Yeah, just to make it maybe more of an example, we all, as a scientist, I never say, hey, I have 2 hours left in my day. I'm wondering what I can do. This is literally nothing that I ever said in my entire academic career.
If you would say this at the time that we were in the office, I will throw something in your head. Yeah.
This doesn't exist. In science, you always work. And when you do not work, you have made the decision to not work. So I have clear-cut times when I work and not. Of course, exceptions when a review process is due, when submissions are sort of like this critical timelines. But this just takes time. And all of us are the same way, which means that if I get a review, which example, I have a current review right now that I do the same what basically they did to me just now. And I have to postpone it by 2 weeks because I have no time currently to do it because it takes a lot of time. It takes, I think it takes some days, at least, because I also want to ensure that the papers that I review, that they are good papers. So I am also responsible for the papers that everyone else reads. And this takes time. And this ensures the scientific quality, even though this process might be flawed here and there, but it's still it's what we have right now, and it's the best what we have right now.
Yeah, thanks for your explanation. I really appreciate that. Normally, Alexej, we get from our audience the kind of pattern of questions saying, well, Walter, you know, I really like the idea that you are interviewing people that have published many different scientific work, but from my reality, I want to apply the results. So I want to change, I want to take this knowledge and change some behaviors or apply the knowledge, scientific knowledge to my praxis. And we try to understand this and we try to answer as well, but I think this is not my task. So I will throw it back to you and I will make it just a kind of simple question. In your words, how could we transfer the results of your publication to the praxis, so to the real life? How could you answer this question?
So first of all, Walter, this is not a simple question.
I know, but I want to put some words in between, you know.
This is a very challenging question because this I am the only person at the entire department, I believe, that does not even try to apply the experimental findings into real world, because my experiments are very abstract, and this it translates to general cognition. It doesn't apply to sports. So it will apply to sports, of course, in 20 years maybe. But currently, it's just too little evidence to say this. I recommend this for this certain sport, for this player to do that. No, this is not the case. Fortunately, though, this paper is an exception because it is, in my view, really relevant in this regard of learning and how the body contributes to learning. And this is what I also said multiple times. I don't know what happened in our society that we became so focused on the brain. It is cool to sit down for hours in school and not moving and to just read and discuss and write. And then there are some exceptions, like myself. I cannot sit in my chair all day long and read and write. And especially not when I am 16 or 14. I have better things to do. And I wish that people would learn that body activities, physical activities, are important because your physical fitness translates to your cognitive fitness. Maybe not to one-on-one, but there is a direct impact. And regarding finger counting and mathematics, it is really that simple that you just do not forbid counting on your fingers, but you encourage it. And you can also translate like general things. So what we call domain general things that are skills that are useful everywhere in your life. And fine motor skills like holding your pen, balancing your pen, this translates as a general skill. And we argue that this, for example, also shapes your finger movements and finger movements, or agnosia, we call it the differentiation of fingers. This will contribute to your mathematical understanding because you can just move your fingers more easy. You can differentiate your fingers more easy. And this will also somehow, in a mystical process or not, translate to your understanding of mathematics
and also of the world. As you have said, I connect with people, or I connect with the world as far as say one object with this finger, and Theodore says, and we understand Theodore wants to have a ball. Yeah,
exactly. And it has to be cool again, to be not cool and to not stand there looking cool, but to just move. But move through space, always be in movement, always integrate all your bodily parts, your arms or whatever, or jumping around in the break between lessons. This should be encouraged. You should not be as a child sitting there still in your chair for 8 hours per day and do nothing else but read and write. This is horrible.
I think this is against the evolution, right? You
This is against
couldn't. So far, there was the Homo habilis and the Homo erectus. The movement was involved. There was no need to stay in the same place. And from that point, so we speed it up in our evolution, brain, movement, language, all the stuff. But now we decide, okay, let's going to stop again. And yeah, I fully agree with you. Yeah, I think this is a really clear message for different teachers here that can understand based on scientific evidence then how movement, also fine motoric movement, may impact life development, but also mathematic and numerical cognition. Great. Yeah. Alexej, man, this is so nice to talk to you. I really appreciate this. But I have a question. Elias, do you want to say something? Oh no, Elias is not there. I think this
He's lazy.
It's fine. He's in Brazil now. I think this will be one of the most funny episodes of all episodes we have recorded. Great. Alexej, yes, again, thank you very much for your explanation.
Thank you for having me.
This makes a lot of sense for me. But finally, I have a question, which I think is quite easy to answer because I just found a picture of your young brother, or maybe you, some minutes ago. Where can people find you in this world, in the social media or in the real life? Because one of our idea at PODIUM Sportcast is that nice and interesting sports scientists or scientists in general, as you are, can be reached from the society. So how can the society find you?
The easiest way, I think, it's to Google what you just see in Zoom. My name is Alexej Michirev, and you will find several links. I have to say, though, that I am not very active in social media. I have a Twitter account that I never check. I have a Facebook account that I rarely check. And I have a LinkedIn account that I very rarely check.
Okay.
But I regularly do check my emails every day, all day. And you can just write me an email that you can also find by Googling me, Alexej Michirev, JSU. You will find my profile with my email address, hopefully.
Yes, we will add your email and institutional link at the description of the episode.
Yeah, I unfortunately am not the generation anymore who uses Instagram and stuff like this, but I do check Facebook sometimes.
Yes. Okay. And what about ResearchGate? Because they will also have.
I do have ResearchGate. Yes, I do have ResearchGate. I have also this ORCID thing, but I not that active. This is not my current priority because I don't believe that I'm that important. But maybe I will be in some years, I don't know. But I do keep my profile in ResearchGate up to date.
This is quite nice. Great. What a pleasure. Yes. Dear Elia, do you have something to say to our audience? Just for you to explain you, Alexej, normally.
Oh, that was a nice question.
Really nice.
A ghost.
Now is the moment where Elia says to our audience that we are launching our website. So, PODIUM Sportcast.
What a nice message, Elia. Thank you.
Thank you. Applause for you.
Thank you.
And also Elia say now in the moment, guys, if you want to join us, we are at Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Patreon, and Buy Me a Coffee. So it's up to you if you want to join us. And there also in our website, you can propose new people which we may interview or topics that you want to know more and be part of our community. Thank Elia because you are sleeping. We are really happy that you are not here. Anyway, a big thanks, my dear. And wait a minute. For those who have waited and watched until now, I have a special and surprise question. But I will only send you the answer if you are following us. So if you really want to know the answer of this question, please follow us in our social medias. Dear Alexej, imagine you got a project found of €1 million, and you have to apply and expend this money in 5 years. Which scientific question you would love to answer? Take your time.